Scott here from SC Electrics, looking at the new Schneider consumer unit for expert trades. Just unboxing it. First looks, everything doesn't seem too bad. I must admit, appearance-wise, personally I prefer the old Easy9 cover. It doesn't really stand out. In fact, your first impression, you'd go along and think like a BG or Chint. But it's a lot heavier, it's quite good quality. So we'll see what all we get inside the box. We've RCBOs, we've all seen them before. If you haven't, well, maybe you shouldn't fit the board. Main switch, first impression, it seems a wee bit light and flimsy, to be honest, but well, all it's doing is turning things on and off. Our buzz bar, quite handily cable tied onto the DIN rail. May not seem like an awful lot, but the amount of times I've had a board with them missing, it's pretty standard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, perfect for a 10-way board. We don't have an SPD with this simply because the transformer is 2 doors over and the equation's been done, we don't need it. Unusually, most boards come made up. These ones don't, which is a wee bit strange, but it's easy to get around. We have our neutral cable and our neutral bars, and this one here, because it's a straight board, as you can see, are joined together, wee things there. Wouldn't be massively over the moon about these wee blanks. Really, in my eyes, should be metal blanks at the very least, or insertable fuse types. But in this case here, we're not too worried about that because it's my own house, and we all know regs don't apply inside your own house. The labels are actually quite nice, and they've got an awful lot of them. Amazingly, they've actually got, these are nice wee small things. They're actually, unlike the usual ones, they're actually quite tiny, so they'll fit into the spaces perfectly. We've got how to reset our circuit breaker, which is a nice one to stick on. One of the only problems I do have is this label here is wrong. As for most boards, it says to test the RCD quarterly, and as we all know from 18th edition, it should now be 6 monthly. Given the boards only just came out, I would expect that to be up to date. Again, not the end of the world. But we'll get it all together, we'll fit it, see how it looks. We have quite a small space, which I'll show you in a wee second. And this should hopefully fit into it quite well. Alright, so I've stuck the main switch in here. As you can see, after going up the neutrals, quite long to be honest. A wee bit shorter wouldn't do any harm, but it fits and sits in quite well. I think we're actually going to struggle a wee bit when the tails are in, but we'll work that round. There's plenty of room, as you can see. One problem I did have is there's no stopper. There's no stopper here for the main switch. So there's nowhere to actually know where it should be sitting. Now, I know myself from how it looked, it's about there. It'd be nice to have something there to tell us that. Now, when we put the cover on, they're very, very careful as well. The screws come in this wee baggie. Don't lose it, which is something I would do, especially on a site, especially on somewhere where there's a lot of dirt and everything else on the ground. I know myself, I'd end up dropping them. So it's nice to have them on a lot of boards when they actually come attached to the lid, but this could be a new thing. We don't know if that's going to be going forward or not. The lid, when it's on, which this bit here doesn't seem like BG because it actually fits on quite well. It is a wee bit loose, but again, that's something you tighten up with the screws. It might actually give you a wee bit of a chance to hide a wee bit. It does come out slightly from the edges, as you can see, which will actually give you a chance, if you wanted, to put a recessed one in. Unlike a lot of other brands, you don't have that option, they clip on the front. This here you can actually put along the edge to hide your, well, shall we say, less than perfect cuts. It's nice as well that inside the lid, they give you plenty of information, including, for when you come to it in the future, your torque settings, which personally, I think is brilliant. We're going to use now, the one thing I did find quite strange, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing yet, is the size of the knockouts along the top and bottom, both identical. Which means that unlike most where you've got maybe half a dozen 20s, 25, maybe even a 32, this has them all. So you have to make sure you have them all with you, which, as good fortune has, I have them all sitting in one big box, so and all the same colour. It'll even look pretty. So we'll get them all knocked out, get everything put on, get it ready, and get it fitted. Right, I've got our glands on. Must admit, knockouts. Quite straightforward knockout. Give them a whack. As you can see though there, it's a nice wee pattern, but I decided to use, even though I've only got 5 circuits going in, I decided to use one gland for each circuit just to make it easier for myself. Tails gland at the bottom, everything fits well. One thing I have actually noticed, and before anybody asks, why am I only using black glands on the top instead of white to make it look nicer? Very simple reason, because at the minute my wholesaler seems to be struggling a wee bit. With white glands, all I've got is black. The instructions with it, I must admit, actually quite good. Even tell you what tools you need, which I think's nice, even as far as torque driver. So if you're going to watch with that, make sure, if it says you need torque driver, you do need to be using it. So as you can see, everything is sitting very detailed. How to put it in, excuse the whining in the background, my dog has been really annoying today. All sitting nice and pretty, tells you how to remove even the front cover off. It is that simple. So I think it's very much idiot proof. Although as we all know, that doesn't mean that idiots won't mess it up. Quit. Right down to what stickers and all you put on and where you even tells you put them along the top. We'll be putting them on the bottom simply because this is a low down board. I won't be able to read it. Especially because it's my own house. That's even more important. As you can see in here, space is a wee bit of a premium. Even with the smaller unit here. May have to just shift that earth over, that's not a serious problem. But I don't think I've struggled too much here. I'd probably be able to get the old Easy9 in if I had to. This new one I'm hoping to be an awful lot easier. But we'll soon see, we'll fire it in, see what it looks like, and let you know how we're getting all along the way. A few things we're noticing here. First of all, the sheer length of the earth and neutral leads. Yeah, as you can see, I've actually had them moved back for the camera to even focus on them. As you can see, I've had to actually bundle all the neutrals up to one side and put them in there, which, to be honest, is a bit of a bird's nest. It's a hell of a mess. The neutrals are exactly the same. I'm bringing them out so I can hopefully group them all together at the end. It's making it very little room. There isn't an awful lot of room between the top of the RCBO and these neutrals, especially with these links in place. There's no reason at all why they couldn't have dropped that down an extra inch. There's plenty of room there. One thing I do like, a couple of things I like, sorry. The main switch is interchangeable sides. The stickers in the box even come with it are interchangeable. One of my favourite things about these, and I must admit I noticed it years ago and I forgot about it, is the fact you can actually use an ordinary screwdriver on the RCBOs. It fits the whole way in. This is a PZ2SL and it fits no problem at all. Unlike other ones, you have to use a wee small little screwdriver, which I know myself, you end up snapping. But so far, with this and the length of the leads and all, I must admit I don't like it. I don't like cutting these. I know some boys do. I refuse to, because this is the manufacturer's way, and in my eyes you don't need to cut it. But it means that this is only 5 circuits going in, and you can see the amount of wires there. You can imagine it when there's going to be full 10 circuits. You'd really be struggling for somewhere to put all these, and I don't want to put them down too near these screws, because no my luck, I'll cut it. But these here, I must admit, I wasn't too happy with the lack of room here. I've had to push these wires way down, because the last thing I want is the live rubbing against that neutral link. As you can see here, there's not very much room really. Everything's bunched in. It's not the worst one I've ever seen, to be honest, but I know they have to have these a certain length to allow for them to fit inside all boards. And the same with the earths. One thing I did notice, which was a wee bit strange, actually the numbering of the earths. Let's see if I can get into this. If you look, strangely, the numbers are actually coming in from the right. Now, as you can see, I didn't notice that until I already had it in. So of course mine's the wrong way around. It doesn't make an awful lot of difference. But I'm surprised the main earth isn't on the left, because in most scenarios it's the most common place to find it. Again, I understand the whole either side switching board, and I think that's a compromise that's been made on it. As you can see though, all the complaints and all might have about neat wires or anything else, when it covers on, looks lovely. Inside's, apart from the wee stickers not being straight because I'm not a very good shot, it's pretty attractive board. The only complaint that I have there, you can see the main switch is slightly askew as are the RCBOs, not much. That again is contributing towards the lack of a stop on the DIN rail for the main switch to sit against. But overall, I must admit, it's not the worst board I've ever fitted. Quite happily fit one again, really, to be honest. I would like a wee more room though, or else shorter fly leads. Well, that's our look at the new Schneider board. Bar a wee bit of lack of room, very, very long leads. Generally, the build quality is quite good. It fits well. You're comfortable enough on the screws. You know everything's tight. Would I use it again? Yes. Would I choose it as long as the leads stay that length? No. If I was pushed for choice, I would go for this over an awful lot of the more budget makes. I wouldn't class this as one of the higher standards. Well, thanks very much everyone. This is Scott from SC Electrics for Expert Trades.